Hi guys, Scott Woodward with you to preview the Cronulla Sharks 2013. And look, the Sharks have never won a premiership, but 2013 they'll never get a better opportunity. The list they have is the best they've ever had. The depth they've had is as good as they've ever had. We're going to talk about their players in a few seconds, but the coach has got some tough calls to make this year. He's done a wonderful job since taking over from Ricky Stuart. Ricky Stuart, you might remember, in 2007, 2010 had a 41% win rate at the Cronulla Sharks. Shane Flanagan already has got that up to 48% last year, and I'll be very surprised if it's well and truly above the 50% in 2013. He's done a great job since he's taken over. He's improved the structure, he's improved the balance of the team, and overall the enthusiasm, particularly in defence. Ricky Stuart's last 12 months at the Sharks, I think was only about a 25% win record, and he left the club in tatters. Shane Flanagan has done a wonderful job to bring back the pride in the jersey and send out a competitive team every week to go around. I want to talk about one of the big decisions that he's got to make. Paul Gallen obviously has a big say in what happens at the Sharks, and rightly so. He's certainly one of the best forwards in the world, but he's not the coach, and the coach seems to be gun shy to take him off when he should be off. The guy gets on there. He wasn't training late last year. He's got injuries all over the place, and yet he starts him and he plays him long minutes. And then all of a sudden, he's no good to him when the big games come at the end of the year. He's got 3 absolute top-class locks in this club now. There's no reason for Paul Gallen to certainly play in a back row position when they've got so many top-class back rows. And certainly Paul Gallen can go and play up front for some minutes like he does in State of Origin. I think he'll serve the club better if he can do that. And I think he can serve the club better if he plays some time on the bench. They don't need him playing the long minutes. There's some skills that they've got that we'll talk about that he hasn't got, and that will come into this team nice and fresh. So how he rotates his bench is going to be a key thing for the club, for the coach. I'd like to see Shane Flanagan be the boss and actually tell Paul Gallen what he has to do, and take him off when he needs to be taken off, and don't select him when he can't train. So look, let's go through the team. Very exciting team. Last year, you might recall, the Sharks didn't really have a fullback. Their guy who has been the fullback for the last 2 or 3 years has done a great job. Young Nathan Gardner really gave them some impetus and some genuine speed in the back line, something that the Sharks have been lacking, is genuine speed. Nathan Gardner gave them that. He was fantastic the way he would offer that thrust from the back. He was out most of last year, and the Sharks suffered. They had to make do with Matty Wright to come in, and while he did a fair job, he's not a fullback, and he just wasn't capable of running the length of the field and scoring tries like Nathan Gardner was. Nathan Gardner will certainly be in contention for that position, but without any doubt, you would feel that starting fullback will be Michael Gordon. His stats when he's played fullback for the Panthers is just amazing. His work rate is amazing, and while he's not an absolute flying machine, he's not slow either, and he can bust tackles, and he can offload the ball, and he'll look dangerous every time he's got the ball, and you'll know that he's on the ground. It's hard to leave Nathan Gardner out of the team, because I think he's very promising, and he's one of those guys that have got the genuine speed, like a Benny Barber, and can run the length of the field of the try for a try. I would like to see him somehow find his way into the team, but it's going to be very, very difficult, particularly if Michael Gordon starts off well. So Michael Gordon is our fullback. Put a little hold on Nathan Gardner. Matt Wright or Isaac Gordon, you think, would fight out the left wing position. Both of those guys go okay, no world beaters. Jonathan Wright, I think I'm a fan of. I like what he's done at the Bulldogs. He can also play fullback, and he can also play on the wing, but he's a guy with immense talent. I've got a big opinion of Jonathan Wright. I think he's an excellent in. Young Ricky Lutelli, we saw a fair bit of him last year when he came in. I think he has a promising future in first grade rugby league, and I'm sure we'll see a bit of him during the year as well. I don't think he will get a starting position. On the other wing, look, I think the coach will prompt for Ben Pomeroy. But gee, for a guy of his immense talent, he lets himself down with some dumb things. He's one of those guys that walk in defence. He very rarely is jogging on the spot. He walks back, he misses tackles, and he has bad hands, and he can do some silly things. But there's no denying the way he can bust tackles and set up and score a try. He can certainly play. I would like to see a lot of those bad things in his game disappear. But to be honest, I've been wanting for a couple of years now, and they're still there. He wouldn't be in my team, Ben Pomeroy, but I think he'll be in the coach's team. Some of the promising guys that could replace him is Sosaya Feki, promising young kid, come up from the Sharks ranks, and I think you'll be seeing plenty of him in years to come. If he's had a good off-season, I'd almost be inclined to risk him at the start of the year. Stuart Mills is another promising youngster who'll be putting his hand up for a centre position. So, you know, while the coach has got some contenders for the centre's position, there's no one who has actually put their hand up and said, I'm a complete moral, I'm going to have one of those centre jobs. Like, for instance, the Cowboys have got. It's pretty straightforward, bang, bang. We can't say that at the Sharks. And the centre has been a contentious position for them in years to come. So while they've got a few contenders, it's not settled yet. I think they'll go with Jonathan Wright and Ben Pomeroy. I think that'll be what the coach will go for. On the wing, Bo Ryan had a breakout year last year. While I think he's an incredibly funny guy and I enjoy him on the footy show, he can certainly play, and he went up a little notch last year. He's got genuine speed, and he reads the game well, and he's got a little bit of an X factor about him now. You know, look, I'm very happy for him to be on the right side on the wing. He'll come into contention there with Nathan Stapleton and also young Daniel Morocco. There's a little bit of talent on that side, but Bo Ryan, with his experience and the fact that he brings so much to the club, just in terms of personality, and when they're down, he'll lift the guy, particularly in the dressing sheds. Those sort of guys are very powerful to have in your club, but it's no good if they can't play. But Bo Ryan can play, and I think he's fine there, and looking forward to seeing how he goes. We're going to talk about the 6 and the 7 a fair bit, but certainly Todd Carney is the one guy in the Cronulla Sharks side that they cannot replace. They've only got one Todd Carney, and he offers something to this team that no one else in the team can offer, and he's crucial for them to be there if the Cronulla Sharks are going to grab that elusive premiership that they're yet to get. So Todd Carney had some injuries. We're told that he's responded well in the off-season, and he's trying to be back for round 1. Don't know if he can be back for round 1, but very important that he's on the field, and no doubt about that. The very important number 7 position, the coach has preferred to have the experienced Jeff Robson, and he's a guy that has got all the skills. Very good kicking game, good talker, a good passing game. One little problem, he's only an ordinary player. He's got all those skills, but he's just ordinary. I don't think just ordinary is good enough for a halfback, and I think Todd Carney is the sort of guy that actually wants someone to take a lot of pressure off him and not only be the go-to man, not only be the game breaker. If he can have an equally strong and talented guy like he is, I think the team as a whole will go better. That guy is young Chad Townsend. He had to play second fiddle last year to Jeff Robson. He's been biding his time. I think now's the time for him to claim that number 7 jersey and for the coach to give him a much better go than what he's had in previous years. Chad Townsend is a guy who could be a genuine number 7 in rugby league, and if he keeps on improving, could go places. Jeff Robinson's not going places. He's just a good club player, and he served Cronulla very well since he's come over, but maybe the time is up for the coach to have a little crack and don't sit on the fence. If you want to win a premiership, I think you need guys like Chad Townsend. They're complementing Todd Carney, and really, really important for me. I'm going to be interested to see here what the coach does. Let's talk about the props. Bryce Gibbs will be one of the props. I thought he went terrific last year, and you'd think the coach will probably plump for Ben Ross, although I would have no doubt that the most talented prop is Andrew Fafita. Got no idea why the West Tigers let him go. I think he's a potential world beater. I think he could represent, and if they can get him playing consistent, solid footy and getting him good minutes, opposition teams will know that he's on the field. He is the best tackle buster and best go forward guy they've got as far as prop forwards are concerned, and that's providing, of course, Paul Gallen is not playing in the front row, which is certainly what I'd be doing with Paul Gallen, and I'll explain why I'd be doing that. Let's just talk about the hooker. Isaac, the guy's had a wonderful season last year. There's no reason why he won't hold down that position again. I see they've signed John Morris again, wonderful club man, great to have around in the dressing shed, but he also has limited talent. They have got a guy who's got an abundance of talent, and he's been ripping them up in the under-20s. A guy called Michael Leacher, and I think that there's a good chance that he might come off the bench at some stage during the year and complement Isaac de Gois. Very promising young hooker there for the Sharks. So they're well suited in that position, which is a good thing to have. Now let's talk about the back rowers. No club has got an abundance of talent in the back row like the Cronulla Sharks have. We're talking about Luke Lewis, who is a world-class player. We're talking about Paul Gallen, arguably the best forward in the world, along with the Pommy Sam. But Anthony Tupu is another guy I've got a high regard for, class player, wouldn't let any rep team down, and of course Chris Huntington, who plays for England. Now, we're talking about Lewis, Gallen, Tupou and Heineken. They can all play lock, and they're all absolute top class players. One of those guys can't start. If the coach arguably will probably start with Paul Gallen at lock, or moving to on the left side in the back row, where he may not have to make so many tackles. But Chris Huntington is a workaholic, and if he can hold in that number 13 position and put in the tackles that he does, he'll take a lot of pressure off the rest of the forward pack, and it'll put a lot of energy into the side where they can attack. I think it's very, very important and a key decision for the coach here to work out what he's going to do at lock. I don't see the point in bringing Huntington over to the club if they're going to play him off the bench. He's not an impact player, and to me he has to hold down that number 13 position, which will leave Paul Gallen probably starting on the left-hand side as a back rower, and at some stage then you think maybe the coach might give him 5 minutes and then bring him back and give him a run in the front row. To me that would work beautiful for the club, and once Paul Gallen goes forward, they can then have Luke Lewis and Anthony Tupu as the back rowers, and of course you've got guys like Jason Bakuya as well that can come on, and I'm going to talk about Wade Graham. Wade Graham, in my opinion, is the best bench player in the NRL, and he's an absolute gimme for the start of Horizon. I haven't heard his name mentioned by any of the media as the utility to come on for New South Wales, but Wade Graham can play any position basically in the forward pack. And obviously he can play 6 or 7 if he has to. He could also play in the centres and on the wing if he had to. But importantly, he's a very intelligent player. He's a very good talker. But when he comes on, he does something. He does make an impact, and that's what you want for your guys off the bench. And if the coach has to bring him on to fill in for Carney at 6, that can happen. He's not a problem in the world. That's what he used to play. But he can come on wherever he wants to come on. If he wants to replace Chris Huntington, you know what he do. He'll be on the field. He's an absolutely outstanding bench player, and to have a gun bench player is a massive asset in this day and age, the way the game has got so fast. So to me, he's one of the big pluses for the Sharks, Wade Graham. So we're looking at their forward pack. It's awesome pack. It's just an awesome pack. We're talking about Gibbs, Fafita, Ben Ross, Lewis, Gallen, Tupou and Heineken, and we've already talked about Wade Graham to come on. Jason Bukua had the last 2 years has been fantastic as well. He's another guy who can fill in. We're talking about some of the depth. They've got Bave, a young kid called Rodney Coates, who I've heard good things about. Mark Tatufia, we know that he can do good. They've got a young kid called Sopo Aga, who a lot of people are talking about. We know Sam Tagatese, he's a very, very speedy back rower, can play up front. Broderick White and the promising Tyrone Pinchy, who can come on and also play lock forward. They've got a lot of depth there in the Sharks. The coach has done a wonderful job with putting this team together. The trick for him is to get the configuration right and not let Paul Gallen play the long minutes and stuff up the back line. I would like I would like very much for him to play the first 20 minutes in the back row and then go to the front row. In between that, have a lot of spells, and I think the Cronulla Sharks will be served very, very well if that can happen. We're talking about 48% win record for Shane Flanagan last year. I think he can get it up to the 60s this year. I've got no doubt that they'll be playing semi-final football, and if they get in the final four, and you've got the likes of Todd Carney, Michael Gordon, Luke Lewis, Paul Gallen, all fit and well, that they got a couple of beating any team on the planet. This is a formidable Cronulla Sharks team, and I know it's been a long time between drinks, but get ready for a big 2013 if you're a Sharks fan. Good luck. Talk to you soon. Cheers.